Welcome back to this one inventory slot challenge where we try to unlock an igneous Calzuck with one inventory slot. In the previous episode, we upgraded our blisterwood wand and orb into a sun spear, managed to grab ourselves a full set of Ceradome and War Priest, scored myself an Asylum Surgeon's ring, found myself on the receiving end of a lucky Ceradomin's Murmur, and completed the first part of our challenge by running through the fight caves and taking down Jad. Our next step, 4 different kiln runs, one with each of the combat styles. Remember that Zilliana grind we did in the last episode in order to get a Murmur? Well, first step is going to be replacing that Murmur. And to replace it, we're going to be heading over to the Barrows Brothers in order to get a new amulet. This amulet is more than likely going to be the best amulet that I can get for the entirety of this challenge, and it's the Amulet of the Forsaken, providing a +3 prayer bonus and a +36.8 style bonus for every single style. I feel like I lied to you guys when I said magic's not going to be very important, because now it's important again. So let's go grab 1,000 air runes so we can take on the Barrows Brothers. The Barrows Brothers fight works as follows. There's 8 undead individuals inside of 6 different crypts, one of which being Linza will be completely ignored. The Melee Brothers will take on with magic, the Magic Brother will take on with range, the Range Brother will take on with melee, and for accuracy we will need 2 separate combat styles. One of these crypts will lead to some underground tunnels, which we'll have to run through and solve a puzzle. After solving that puzzle, I can open up the loot chest and fight the final brother. After killing the final brother, we'll be all set to loot the chest. Assuming I kill all 7 brothers on every run, I'm looking at a drop rate of 1 in 75 in order to get my Amulet of the Forsaken. Here's something I did not expect. I was thinking I would have to make sure I use the right combat style for everything, but it seems to be working just fine. Even using magic against the ranger seems to be doing absolutely a-okay. A fair expressor, that's hilarious. I think we need to add something. That's better. Nothing, 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 nope, nothing, nope, nuh-uh. And there it is. Pretty lucky if I do say so myself on kill number 19. So to grab this, we're gonna need to drop our stack of air runes, get back to searching the chest, take out the amulet, and we can just bank the rest of that stuff. Somebody is going to get some free air runes, I suppose. So if we look at the stats of our Amulet of the Forsaken, we have a +36 on everything, plus that 3 prayer bonus. Looking at our Murmur, we just have a +36 range bonus and a 2 prayer bonus on the Murmur itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to obviously wear my new Amulet of the Forsaken, and then use the Ceradomin's Murmur on the bank chest since it's no longer going to be useful on our challenge. So far our gear's looking pretty good, but there's one slot that remains empty, our pocket slot. So we're going to fix that next. To fix this, we're going to be heading over to the Elder Godor's dungeon in order to take on the Arch Glacor. The Arch Glacor has a multitude of drops in normal mode, but the one that we're going to be looking for is the Scripture of Wen, with the drop rate of 1 in 490 in normal mode. So we did try a couple of Arch Glacor kills, but it turns out my gear might just simply not be enough right now. So we need to get a couple more upgrades before I can actually try to get this Scripture of Wen. I suppose it's high time I show you guys how I plan on storing things for this challenge. So if you click on this alchemizer, you can see that I have 30 pack pigs stored right here. As is kind of discussed in the end of episode 1, the overwhelming majority of you guys said use pack pigs, but only when I can't proceed any further. So I am collecting those pack pigs just in case I do need them. I've taken the rest of my War Priest of Ceradomin and placed them into the auto disassemblers over here. Since I have no charge, I should be able to get these back again later. However, we did run into one minor problem, and that is both the top and the legs are apparently worth more than 500k, so I'm going to have to just get rid of them and try to reobtain them later. The first thing that we're going to upgrade is our weapon. We're going to shoot for an Elder Rune 2H sword +5. This is a tier 85 melee weapon, which requires level 90 attack to wield. However, it's a smithable weapon, meaning we're going to be needing a total of 128 Elder Rune bars in order to make this weapon. So the first thing we're going to need to do is level up an ore box. 1 copper ore goes into the furnace. 2nd copper ore into the furnace. 1 tin ore into the furnace. 2 tin ores into the furnace. So as you could tell from the previous clip, I started filling up my metal storage with all the ores that I need in order to make an Elder Rune box. But I decided I needed to test something first. So I hopped on another account and grabbed my ore box and realized that the ore box actually can't be wielded. I thought it could. Well, that poses an issue because now I'm going to have to go and mine each and every single ore and deposit them one at a time until I have all the ores that I need in order to make my Elder Rune 2H sword.
One eternity later.
So it's been a while, but I finally finished collecting all those ores. I was going to go to Diego to go grab my blacksmith's gloves, but yeah, we can't grab those because they're sitting in my bank. So I'm going to have to smelt the bars one at a time as well. Since we now have all our ores and bars all set and ready to be made, let's go ahead and make our base version of the Elder Rune 2H sword. That's the base version done. Plus 1, plus 2, 3, there's 4, and plus 5. There it is, ready to rock and roll. Probably a good thing I didn't actually drop the top and bottom yet because I realized I need to go to do some more bossing in order to get some more equipment. Oh, all right, we got the kill. It took almost 5 minutes though. Now that we're actually able to take on the Glacor, we have quite the grind ahead of us. My kills have been ranging between 4 minutes and 5 minutes, so that means we're looking at somewhere between a 30 to 40 hour grind. Let's get into it. We're starting with a kill count of 720. Let's see how long this takes us. I saw the scripture of Big Drop and thought it was my scripture of when. Starting to get a lot better at flicking my prayers correctly without draining the prayer points, including the prayer flicks and protection prayers as well. I love the cash gains out of this, at least 525k. Visual glitches make RS look so cool. No! Holy crap, look at this cash gain right here. 234k and 13 more copper salvages. Something that gives me 734k out of that kill. Wait, the right arm's weak to melee? I thought the right arm was weak to range. Okay, down to 3.5 minute kill times. Let's go. No! I got excited from the manuscript page. Holy crap, this response time, everything's taking like an extra 3 seconds for the input to go through. Hey, selling that gives me 10 mil, let's go. Green money! Oh, freaking Nyla, are you kidding me? Book. Oh my god, I actually called it.
Flashback.
Book! Damn it. Book! Here comes my book! Nope. And here's the book right here. Nope. Are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs? Scripture drop incoming. Nope. Here's my book. Here's the scripture. And here it is. Here comes the book. Bam! Damn. So I did get pretty lucky with getting the scripture of when. I'm sitting at a KC of 896, meaning it took me 176 kills to get that scripture. However, we have run into a bit of a problem. You'll see if I try to unlock the scripture of when, we get this message, which I was unaware of saying you can only own one scripture of when at a time. I do obviously have a scripture of when sitting in the bank. So what I've decided to do is go into my bank and take this scripture of when that has 9 hours on it and just destroy it, because luckily those pages are pretty easy to come by, and once I finish up this challenge, I can just keep this current scripture of when. So I guess this is goodbye to this one. So we can now equip our scripture of when. So now this is where this gets kind of interesting because I'm always going to have to be hitting multiple keybinds basically every tick to make sure my prayers are active and my scripture is active without it draining anything. If this hasn't been made obvious yet, I'm going to be going for the Melee Kiln Cape first, which means for my gear, I have two options available to me. Either A, I can go for a power equipment setup by doing General Grador, or B, I can go do some mining and smithing and use a set of Elder Rune armor. I think I'm going to opt for option B just because I'm not going to have to worry about other drops and I'll eventually make sure I have the entire set of what I need. So I guess I'll see you guys in several hours. So as you can see, I've collected 451 Elder Rune bars. I only needed 320 to be able to get the Elder Rune helmet, body, and legs at +5. But I wanted a few extras, which I'm going to explain why in a little bit. With that being said, I'm going to need to store away my War Priest of Ceradomin helmet. And as was discussed earlier in the episode, I'm not going to be able to store away that top. So let's go ahead and disassemble that. Nor am I going to be able to do it with the legs. So we're going to have to disassemble that. Worst comes to worst, I'll just have to reobtain those. So let's get on to our smithing. That's the base helmet done. +1, there's 2, and a 3, and there's the +4, and the helmet is complete. There's the base plate body, there's the +1, +2, and there's the +3. +4 plate body is done, and our +5 is completed. One more part to make. And we got our base legs done. +1 and 2, there's the 3, +4, and finally our +5. We have most of our smithing work done. But before I finish up my smithing work, there's one more upgrade that I need to get. I would like to get 2 pieces of obsidian armor, specifically the gloves and the boots. Each of these pieces of equipment will give me a 5% damage reduction in Tazar City, and I can get an additional 10% damage reduction with a total donation. This means I'll have to take on the fight cauldron and kill the monsters in such a way that I end up leaving with exactly 12 shards. Not only that, I'll have to do that twice, once for the boots and once for the gloves. This is because obsidian bars cannot be put in the metal storage, meaning I need to have an exact amount in order to get a single bar made. If I end up with more than 12 shards, I'm going to have to die with 24 instead in order to have my amount reduced to 12. So here we are in front of the fight cauldron. I'm going to put up the table on screen to show you how much each of these monsters are worth, and we're going to keep a tracker to see how long it's going to take me to get those 12. Let's begin. So the Zek here is worth 11. So I could challenge this hawk. That's worth 16, so I'm gonna hit no. That guy's worth 2. And this guy's also worth 2. Ket here is worth 3. And now I think if I let this guy kill me, I should end up with 12. All right, perfect. So now that we have those 12 obsidian shards, we can go over to this lava furnace, go ahead and click that, and we can go ahead and make our obsidian bar. Wow, I guess I actually can. So let me explain what's going on here. In RuneScape, if there's a single item that's being used to make a new item and the new item would replace the old item, sometimes you can actually make that item. Unfortunately, it looks like certain items can't do that, and I knew this going into this challenge that certain things I wouldn't be able to make. The things that I had tested this with were rune pouches and powders. I did not think shards would work in the same fashion. I thought that if I could smelt the ore, that hey, it'll work. Unfortunately, it doesn't, which means I am SOL and cannot actually get obsidian boots or gloves. A nice little side effect of the Arch Glacor grind is I have a ton of cash, so I'm able to go over to the RFD chest and actually just buy a different pair of gloves. I'm going to go with the Coloromancer Gloves 10, which are definitely going to be replaced eventually, but we can go ahead and use that for now. And we can go ahead and store away our gauntlets. As for the boots, I've decided to head over to the Saradomin encampment and just hunt some spiritual mages for a pair of dragon boots. I could head over to General Gardor and try to get a pair of Bandos boots, but realistically, this is going to be the only time I'm going to be meleeing in this challenge, and I don't feel like putting the time investment in for that one upgrade for just a short amount of time. Oh shit, there are the boots. Only took me about 15 minutes. And now we can go ahead and store away our War Priest Saradomin boots. So at the end of the last episode, I put my fire cape inside of the bank, but I forgot about the fact that I made a cape stand for this challenge specifically, so I did pull it out and put it on the cape stand. I realize now that I can actually use this because I'm going to be using a melee build for this next cape that I'm earning, and the fire cape does give me a melee damage bonus, so I'm actually going to be pulling this out, and I'm going to be using the fire cape for this next part as well. And this last thing we're going to do may seem a little bit silly, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to trade the shopkeeper and sell my Elder Rune 2H sword, and the reason I'm doing that is because I want to make some dual wield weapons instead. With our dual wield setup, we could be able to wield a shield as well and still be able to be offensive, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be needing resonance, barricade, and all those kinds of things, and I want to keep my offensive capabilities available. So we're going to be making an Elder Rune dual wield set as well as a shield with those extra bars. So here we are with our full set of equipment ready to take on the fight kiln. With our inventory holding nothing more than an Elder Rune shield and our equipment looking like this, let's see if we can knock out our first kiln cape. Unlike the fight caves, the fight kiln only has 37 waves, but the monsters that we'll be dealing with are far more challenging than what we dealt with in the caves. For the kiln, I'm going to opt to use the Penance Aura since I will be using a shield for my heals. So I did try to make a run through the fight kiln, making it to about wave 16 before I met my failure. There were a few major issues on this run. Number one, I was just taking way too much damage because I did forget about the buff that the kiln received. Number two, my flicking was not very good. I couldn't keep the book running while getting it to proc and things like that without draining charge. And my prayer flicking was not very good, so I was missing a lot of soul split heals unless I just left my prayer on, which means I would end up not having enough prayer points. And lastly, I obviously just was missing a lot of DPS because, you know, I don't have any stat boosts. I think there's a few more upgrades that I can make to help deal with the DPS issue, and another upgrade which can help me deal with the taking damage issue by giving myself a little bit more range so I can actually safe spot a few things. I also thought about the possibility of opening up ports specifically for scrimshaws because that would remove the need to flick my pocket slot item since I don't need to worry about the charger with these. The reason I can't keep the scripture running the entire time and need to flick it is because it's impossible for me to charge the scripture with a single inventory slot. I also thought about a few familiars that I might be able to get access to, one of those being the Ghast in order to have some prayer restoration. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like I'll be able to grab the Ghast as I need 2 inventory slots to claim it. Similarly, I don't want to be pulling out the pack pigs just yet because it feels a little bit too early for that. But I do have a couple of ideas for familiars that I can use in the meantime. So be sure to let me know in the comments below if you think it's okay to open up scrimshaws. Thanks for watching, be sure to like and subscribe, and as always, have a wonderful day.